Welcome to Changing Higher Ed, a podcast dedicated to helping higher education leaders improve their institutions. With your host, Dr. Drumm CEO of The Change Leader, a consultancy that helps higher ed leaders holistically transform their institutions. Learn more at changinghighered.com. And now, here's your host, Drumm.
Thank you, David. And hello to everyone. This is a little different podcast than what we've typically done. Normally, when we've done podcasts, I have a guest on. This time, the guest is me. It shouldn't be anything different than usual. I talk to myself all the time, but here we go. Yesterday was Thanksgiving. And Thanksgiving is a tradition we have here in America, roots going back to 1621 and the Pilgrims, who fled England in search of religious freedom. As the story goes, the Pilgrims and Native Americans put aside their differences and came together to celebrate the Pilgrims' first good harvest since arriving in the New World. Since then, the celebration of Thanksgiving has spread to many countries, including Canada, Germany, the Netherlands, Korea, Japan, Australia, and others. We had a wonderful day here at Thanksgiving. We had number 2 son and his fiancée over to the house along with our grand dog, Wensley. And it was a wonderful time. We had great conversation and shared a lot of things. But what really struck me was how people today, especially family, associate expressing gratitude with things. More folks today express gratitude for things. And, that's perfectly normal. According to the Mayo Clinic, it's actually a very good thing. From their website, they say expressing gratitude is associated with a host of mental and physical benefits. Studies have shown that feeling thankful can improve sleep, mood, and immunity. It can decrease depression, anxiety, difficulties with chronic pain, and risk of disease. They go on to say, if a pill could do this, everyone would be taking it. Your brain is designed to problem solve rather than appreciate, so you must override this design to reap the benefits of gratitude. Years ago, I went through a course called Appreciative Inquiry, which is a way to do culture change and many other things in organizations. And one of the exercises that we start off when using Appreciative Inquiry is getting people to think about a time where they were doing well, the institution was doing well, etc. And it changes the way that they think. They start thinking about possibilities instead of trying to problem solve and fix things. In this time where we see increased closures, we see enrollment declines, we see problems with shared governance, there's a lot of things out there to make us feel more negative, to take our attention in that way. And I would caution you and really encourage you to be grateful. Yeah, there are problems out there. We all know that. But be grateful for what we have. As far as university presidents, yours is the most challenging job in the world, with the possible exception of hospital CEOs who have life or death decisions to make. And there are many universities who have medical facilities there, so yours is just as thing. So be thankful for what you have. It really is an amazing job that you are privileged to be in. I really wanted to just chat about the gratefulness, the importance of that. Take a moment to say thank you to all those who serve, whether, it's on the front lines in the fight against aggression and racism, terrorism, whatever, in the hospitals, medical facilities. We've come out of the pandemic, but we still have quite a number of cases of COVID going around. Our military, who spends their day defending our freedoms. Or for yourselves, helping to improve someone's stations in life through education. Very critical. Even little things, or they're not really such little things, as being a good spouse or a parent or a child. Ways that we can make our world a kinder and more gentler place, a more peaceful place to live. We face lots of challenges, but with all the negative news that we're exposed to, we tend to forget the blessings that we have in our life. On this Thanksgiving and going into the holiday season, let's remember those blessings and give thanks to that giver who gives us all these things. So, just briefly to wrap up, as we always do, 3 takeaways for university presidents. As I said, yours is the most challenging job in the world. So for new presidents, what I would say is learn your new campus. Do presidential onboarding. It's critical. You don't know who you trust. You don't know who has your back. You don't know what the things are that are going on. Your interview process, and we'll be doing a podcast on this coming up in the next couple of weeks. You're coming on board to a completely new campus. Find out what's going on. Find out what drives people there. That's really important. Be leaders. Take a moment to reach out to everyone on your campus. The best leaders are those who take the time to learn people's names and truly care about their station in life. You hear many stories about presidents who bump into the groundskeeping or the janitorial staff. They know them. They have conversations with them. Be like this person. People will treat you as you treat them. And sometimes it takes a while to gain trust, especially in situations where there's been very little trust between faculty administration, staff administration, etc. Be quick to praise others. The best presidents don't take credit for the great things that happen. They give the praise to others. Be humble. Be quick to take the blame. As President Truman said, the buck stops here. Have your people's backs, always. And lastly, be grateful. Yours may be the most difficult position, but you're privileged to hold it. Yes, you are or should be well compensated, but gratefulness should go beyond material things. Yours is a fiduciary responsibility to your stakeholders, your faculty, your staff, your students, and especially your students. But more than that, you have moral responsibilities to help others grow and become the best they can. Don't forget that. In this litigious world we live, it's very difficult to say, yeah, my fault, I take the blame, even if it wasn't what you did. You can teach people so much by being humble and saying, let's figure this out. Let's do this together. So those are my 3 takeaways for presidents, and my own 3 takeaways are giving thanks to my clients and hope that we've been able to help them address their challenges. Thanks to my family who've put up with my idiosyncrasies for a long time and they're still with me. They're the real saints here, not me. And then finally to our Heavenly Father, to whom all thanks for everything in my life goes. Folks, thanks for listening today. You're always such a great audience, and I've had so many folks come to me and say, thank you for doing the podcast. They really appreciate it. Well, trust me, I really appreciate you as well for listening, for tuning in. This episode is 183, so that tells me we've been doing this for 5 years now, so thank you very much. Our next guest, we're going to welcome back Dr. William Britt Kerwin, Chancellor Emeritus of the University System of Maryland and former president at Ohio State and the University of Maryland College Park. Britt is a good friend of mine. We've worked together on a number of projects, and we're going to talk about the importance of presidential onboarding. He had this happen to him when he went to Ohio State. He'd been at Maryland his entire career. We'll talk about it next time, but I think you'll find it's going to be really fascinating, especially for those institutions who are planning on bringing on a new president or just have brought on a new president. Happy holidays, everyone. May this season bring peace and joy to all people, all nations of the world, and I look forward to seeing you at the next podcast.
Changing Higher Ed is a production of The Change Leader, a consultancy committed to transforming higher ed institutions. Find more information about this topic, along with show notes on this episode at changinghighered.com. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe to the show, and we would also value your honest rating and review. Email any questions, comments, or recommendations for topics or guests to podcast@changinghighered.com. Changing Higher Ed is produced and hosted by Dr. Drumm McNaughton, post-production by David L. White.